So let's talk about vocabulary. Now, one way to do it, and this is not a bad way, you make another Google Doc or a new tab in the same Google Doc for vocabulary and copy and paste the vocabulary in there. If you want to number it, that's fine. Just number it. I'm going to undo these because they're just headings. All right. And then I would read first and then do the vocabulary. So that way, as you're going through, you can because you've already read it. So we're going to scroll through and we're going to look for bold print words. Like here's asexual reproduction. Well, that is one of my vocabulary words. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put a colon there, give it a space. Asexual reproduction involves a single parent. It results in offspring that are genetically identical to each other and the parent. All right, so there's your definition. All right, involves a single parent, produces offspring identical to the parent. All right, and then you keep going through, and then you look for another bold print word. There's sexual reproduction, involves two parents, so you could do that. Now, another way you can do it is, we'll have to go back to the actual textbook here. If you click up here where it says CK12 Biology, that'll take you back to the table of contents. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, there is a glossary. All right, and here, honestly, this is what I would do. I would click A, all right, and I'd look for any A's on my list. There's anaphase, all right, so I'm going to scroll down. AL, remember this is an alphabetical list. AM, it works just like a dictionary. All right, there's there's anaphase. Now, here's the trick. You're going to be tempted to copy and paste. Don't do it, because copy and pasting does not require thought. There's a reason I tell you to do this on paper. All right, but the way I'm recording right now, I have to do digital. All right, so then I'm going to type this out. Third phase of mitosis, during which sister chromatids separate and move to opposite poles of the cell. Now, I just read it and I typed it. But honestly, I was kind of thinking more about typing than what I was actually typing. So you've got to go back at some point and actually read the vocabulary and study it. More on that in a second. Now, and then you could keep going and look for any other A's. There's asexual reproduction. So that would be, there it is. Reproduction that involves a single parent and results in offspring that are genetically identical to the parent. That's what we already have. My wording was a little bit shorter, but it's the same thing. All right. So either way you want to do that is fine. Some studies have shown that handwriting leads to better understanding than typing. Because again, I think typing, you're thinking about the typing more than you're thinking about what you're typing. Anyway, now, okay, fine. What do we do with it after that? Well, that's a good question. So here you go. All right, so this is a website called Knowt, KNOWT.com. They do have a paid tier. Right now, I'm using the free tier. So after I joined, I put in a title, I put in a couple of words with definitions. All right, so we're going to save and create my flashcards. Apparently I have to have at least 4. All right, so now for this, I am going to copy and paste, mainly for the sake of time. And let's do one plus, antibiotic resistance. That's a very important concept for people to be aware of. All right, save and create. All right, biostudy cuts. I haven't created a class. Save outside of class. All right, now, so we can click on the cards and quiz ourselves. The way I would do this, if you've never used flashcards before, is I would have the word and I'd be like, all right, asthma is a restriction of the airway, like the trachea. It looks like there's going to be ads on this site. Respiratory system, disease in which air passages of the lungs periodically become too narrow, making breathing difficult. Well, okay, so that's fairly close, not the exact definition. All right, and then you could go to the next one. And sometimes it might be helpful to look at the definition and try to figure out the word. Condition in which plaque builds up inside arteries, arteriosclerosis. There you go. I butchered the pronunciation, but I got the word for it. Looks like they have some games as well. This would be like a group thing, so you could probably set that up and share the code through a text message. You could also set up bookets fairly easily. You could also go to Quizlet, is an older flashcard site. I used to really like them, but then they've always had a paid tier, but they got complicated, I feel. Anyway, so like here's a biology class I set up years ago. Let's see here, let's go here. All right, so again, you've got, let's see, how do I don't want Quizlet Plus. There we go. So you can just click to flip back and forth. And what you do is if you get it right, great. You know, if you, all right, phylogenetic tree, let's say you get that one right, click the star. All right. And then, you know, you just go through and you study. Now there are some games that you can do. Match is pretty neat. So it's literally matching. So I always start with the definition: pathway through which carbon levels between living things and non-living environment. So carbon travel, so that would be the carbon cycle. Nitrogen is base that is present in nucleotides paired with guanine. So I know that's cytosine. And you just keep going. All right, now BLAST, I don't like BLAST that much, because what you have to do is you have to type the word as the definition comes down. Oh, they've changed it. Structures that are shared by related species indicating they share a common ancestor. So these would be homolog... What? I'm confused. All right, I don't know what you're supposed to do here. Am I clicking? Kingdom. Ah, okay. Well, that is much different and better. Homologous structures, osmotic pressure, type of immunity, pressure develops. All right, active immunity. All right, I got the wrong one there. That's what was read. So there's different ways you can study. You can even give yourself a test. All right, but this is all for vocabulary. The other way I would do it is, instead of doing the vocabulary in a doc, or maybe even instead of doing it on your notebook, I would just straight up make flashcards, like paper flashcards. If you need some, let me know. Okay? I don't have an infinite supply, but I do have a supply. All right, that's it for this video. I hope this helps. Have a good day and stay curious.